Hey, welcome back. My name is Shari, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 yoga tips for absolute beginners. These are things I wish someone had just kind of sat me down when I started out my yoga journey and laid it out for me. I have been practicing since about 2006, and I've been teaching since 2015. And so here are just some ideas for if you're getting started, whether you're taking classes on YouTube, hopefully with me, or whether you're going to classes in the studio. So I've got my notes here. And the first thing that I want to chat about is discomfort and pain and the difference between the two. So tip number 1, yoga poses should never hurt. We are always trying to avoid sharp or shooting pains, any type of joint pain, any type of achy pain. That's a big no-no. Discomfort is something totally different. If you're in a pose and your muscles are burning, no problem. If you're in a pose and you're starting to feel a little bit of that sore feeling where you're like, man, something is really happening, no problem. That's discomfort, but that's different from sharp shooting pain. Mild discomfort is totally normal, but sharp shooting pain is a big no-no. That is your body shouting at you, hey, I need you to pull back, rein it in, bring it back. You might be overextending a muscle, you might be aggravating an old injury. So anytime you feel sharp shooting pain, immediately withdraw, ease off the pose, or come out of it completely. Tip number 2. A yoga teacher is always going to offer more cues. And by cues, I mean all the words that yoga teachers say. Those are called cues. They're always going to offer you more cues than you could ever use, absorb, make sense of in the moment. And the reason that they'll say the same thing a couple of different ways is because everybody processes information differently. So, for example, they might say, inhale your arms over your head and slide your shoulders down your back. And then they might follow up by saying something like, relax your shoulders down away from your ears and lift your heart. And then they might say something like, expand the chest to the sky and release the shoulders down the back. It might all sound a little bit crazy and kooky when you say it like one after the other, but it also might take you a couple of tries in your brain to sort out the information and be like, oh, this is what she means. Relax the shoulders down, slide the shoulders down the back, or lift the chest, or open the heart. Whatever it is, it's gonna land differently for different people. So you don't have to listen to literally every single word a yoga teacher is saying to you. They will always offer more cues than you could ever process. But they're hoping that one out of those 3 or 4 cues for that one specific pose is gonna land with you. And then as soon as they start to see and look around the room, like if they're in a class setting, as soon as they start to see that okay, it's starting to stick, that's typically when they'll move on. It's a little bit different when you're teaching to a camera because you don't have any of that feedback. So in a class online, they might offer, the cues even over and over and over again in hopes that the person on the other side will eventually have it land and stick and make sense. All right. Tip number 3, stop and rest whenever you want. Man, it is crazy to me when I'm teaching classes and I see people on the struggle bus and they are so embarrassed to just stop and take a break. You're not going to get in trouble. I don't care as the teacher, and I promise you literally everyone else around you also does not care. Everyone is so wrapped up and involved in what it is that they're doing on their own mat. They cannot be bothered with what else is going on your mat. This I can guarantee you. So please stop and take a break whenever you want to take a break. As a teacher, it's incredibly gratifying to me in my classes when I see my students take the time to listen to their bodies. One of the main things we're trying to do when we cultivate a yoga practice is to grow that relationship between ourselves, our bodies, our breath, and our minds. And one of the main ways that we do that is to teach our bodies the difference between rest, relaxation, and work, right? So when you take that time to recognize, hey, my breath is really short, hey, I'm starting to like feel all this tension in my jaw and my neck. My shoulders are creeping up into my ears because I'm stressed by what's going on in this class. That's not what we're looking for. We are really, as yoga teachers, trying to impart not just physical poses that you can get some exercise. We're trying to impart the knowledge of a very deep, very ancient, very beautiful practice, science, and school and way of thinking. And one of the biggest lessons for me as a human being and a yogi is learning to listen, honor, and respect my body. So, long story short, when you need to take a rest, just make your way into child's pose, or just sit upright, or just lay down. Take a break. It's fine. I promise. Tip number 4. This builds on the previous one. Your breath is your guidepost, always, period, full stop. In your continuing growth as a yogi, you will learn various pranayama or breath techniques, and that's amazing, and I totally encourage it. I love pranayama, I love breath work, but the most important to me, I think the most important breath work you can do is while you are performing physical postures or yoga poses, or in Sanskrit, asana. Your breath is giving you so much feedback at all times during your practice. So if you are in a very physical vinyasa flow class, and you find that you are gasping for breath, you can barely keep up, your breath is short, it's shallow, you might be hyperventilating a little bit, your body is telling you, hey, yo, you need to chill, you need to cool it, you need to relax, you need to slow down, because that is absolutely not what the practice is trying to impart or teach or have you experience physically. A strong practice consists of not only your ability to move through the physical poses, but your ability to control your breath while you're moving through those poses. Your ability to take a full and complete inhale where you're expanding your lungs to their full capacity, and a full and complete exhale where you're using your diaphragm to push that breath out. You can breathe faster to keep up with a faster flow class, and you can shorten your breath so that it fits the speed of the class, but you should not be sacrificing the quality of your breath just to keep up with whatever is going on around you. If you're a couple of breath counts behind in class, nobody should care. Your teacher shouldn't care, your classmates shouldn't care, and you shouldn't care. You need to do what's right for you. Your breath is there as your guide. So when you find that you are hyperventilating or breathing really shallow, it is your body's way of telling you to slow down and pull back. In the inverse, if you're in, a challenging posture, or you're moving through a series of challenging postures, and you're like, this is like a walk in the park, or I could just be sitting still right now, my breath is flowing really easy. It's a sign that you could be pushing yourself a little bit more. You could be challenging yourself a little bit more if that's what you choose to do. You could be a little lower in a lunge. Perhaps you need to engage your abdominal muscles a little bit more. Perhaps you need to be a little bit stronger or quicker with your chaturanga. Maybe you could jump up in your chaturanga. And finally, I touched on this earlier. This is the most important one. No one is concerned about what you're doing in that class besides you and the teacher. Everyone else in that classroom with you, or everyone else that is doing a yoga practice around you, is solely focused on what is going on their mat. Your little island, that's your special place, okay? You can just sit there and you can imagine that you've got walls up all around you if you want to. You don't need to be worried about anybody else, because nobody else is worried about you. And if they are, that's saying something about them and not you. So just relax, take your time, enjoy, be easy, take breaks. And there's no need to be embarrassed about anything. You are doing something amazing for yourself. You're doing something really meaningful for yourself and really impactful for yourself, and that should be commended. So, for all of you fellow yogis out there, for all of you aspiring yogis out there, I hope these tips were helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any experiences where you're like, man, this information would have been really helpful during X, Y, or Z class that I went to or class that I took. Please drop me a comment and let me know. I would love to chat with you more about it. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.